Long before the uprising against Gaddafi, before the U.S. and NATO bombing, there was money to be made from the Libyan regime. And CNN's Brian Todd reports on the U.S. firms that profited from Muammar Gaddafi's money.
Every day there are accounts from Libya of the viciousness and brutality of this man. But before this war, Muammar Gaddafi had renounced terrorism and weapons of mass destruction and had really improved his image with the West, thanks in part to lobbying, consulting, and law firms in the U.S. who made millions off him. One of them is the Livingston Group, works out of this building. It's headed by former Republican Congressman Bob Livingston. Federal records show the firm made about $2.5 million over less than 2 years, setting up meetings with congressmen and looking after Libya's interests in Washington. A Livingston aide said he wouldn't go on camera with us, but both the aide and Livingston himself have acknowledged the firm's work with Libya. Livingston and his aides say the firm stopped working for Libya's government in 2009 to protest the release of the accused Lockerbie bomber from a Scottish prison. Another firm, called the Monitor Group, made several $1 million in its dealings with Libya. According to documents posted online by a Libyan opposition group, the Monitor Group charged the Libyan government $250,000 a month between 2006 and 2008. In return, according to the documents, the firm sent academics from Harvard and elsewhere to meet with Muammar Gaddafi. Some of them wrote positive articles about the Libyan leader. They advised Gaddafi's son, Saif, on the thesis for his PhD. The Monitor Group offered to produce a glowing biography of Muammar Gaddafi for nearly $3 million, which the firm now calls a mistake. The group even proposed helping Gaddafi set up his own National Security Council. Did the Monitor Group skirt U.S. law in its dealings with Libya? The documents say one person who went to Libya for the Monitor Group, former U.S. defense official Richard Pearl, briefed Vice President Dick Cheney after returning. Contacted by CNN, Pearl wouldn't go on camera, but denied ever briefing Cheney. We couldn't get comment from Cheney's office. Paul Blumenthal of the nonpartisan watchdog group The Sunlight Foundation says if Pearl briefed Cheney, that part of the Monitor Group's work in Libya could be illegal because it's not a registered lobbying firm. What did the Monitor Group do that was deceptive in your opinion?
Well, the Monitor Group, despite not being a traditional lobbying organization, really should have registered under the Foreign Agent Registration Act, which has a much broader definition of who is a lobbyist and who should register than the traditional lobbying law. And in this case, they were working intellectuals to Libya who had foreign policy ties in America to elites, whether it was Dick Cheney or people in the State Department, the Defense Department. And they really wanted these intellectuals to be able to influence policy on Libya.
We spoke with Eamon Kelly, a partner with the Monitor Group who's leading an internal investigation into the firm's dealings with Libya. What do you say to the critics who say you not only made a lot of money off a brutal dictator, but you did indirect lobbying for him and you should have registered and didn't do that?
First of all, we were working in Libya at a very different time in history. The international community at the time that we were undertaking that work believed, as did we, that there was an important possibility that serious and significant reform could take place, and we believed we could support that. We were not working for Gaddafi, we were working for Libya. If we discover that there was anything inappropriate that we did, we will take all appropriate measures to remedy it.
Plenty of others made millions off Gaddafi. Rhonda Fahmy Udom's lobbying firm got more than $1 million a year for 3 years to push for Libya to be taken off America's list of terrorist sponsors. It was all registered and above board. But critics say you knew about his history, you knew about the chance that he could maybe never change, and you made a deal with the devil.
I didn't make the deal with the devil. The Bush administration made the deal with the devil. I didn't do that agreement. The Bush administration did it. I only implemented that policy.
Udom says her contract with Libya wasn't about money. It was about U.S. national security, working with Libya to renounce terrorism, keeping weapons of mass destruction out of the hands of a dictator. She says if Muammar Gaddafi had those weapons now, he'd be using them on his own people. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.
All right, Brian.